Hi, Arcfieldweather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Tuesday morning, January the 16th. Well, the snow drought in that D.C., Philadelphia, New York City corridor is over. Many spots along that section of I-95 had not received an inch or more of snow during the past couple of years. Certainly that has ended. D.C. Officially, Reagan National Airport had more than 3 inches. Philadelphia International Airport, more than 3 inches. Still a little bit of snow and freezing rain continuing at this hour in the southeastern part of Pennsylvania. New York City certainly will end up with more than an inch of snow. They are still snowing as we speak here on Tuesday morning. Another accumulating snow event is on the way for the Mid-Atlantic region of the Northeast U.S. at the end of the work week, probably centered on Friday night time frame. That system will be followed by another Arctic blast for the Mid-Atlantic Northeast U.S. during the upcoming weekend. Looking ahead, it does look like we'll warm up to above normal conditions in much of the eastern U.S. later next week, but that certainly will not be the end of the Arctic era outbreaks. They certainly are destined to return to the central and eastern states by the end of the month of January and certainly during the month of February. We have some impressive cold air centered over the center of the nation as we begin the day here on Tuesday morning. This particular map is from coolweather.com, kind of a nice feature at this particular website, COOLWX, where you can retrieve the hourly record breakers or near record breakers. These circled areas represent near record lows or actual record lows this morning. And again, a large area over the south central states. Some of these areas, such as right here, are actually challenging or already breaking monthly temperature records. This, for example, Stillwater, Oklahoma, down to about -4 degrees. When you break a record, a low temperature record in the month of January, that's pretty impressive indeed, and this is only the middle part of January here. So Stillwater, Oklahoma, showing some very impressive cold. Huntsville, Alabama, over here in northern Alabama, actually will drop down tonight, late tonight, to probably somewhere between 0 and 5 degrees above zero. Very, very cold air indeed across the southeastern, the south central states, and that'll extend in the southeastern states into the overnight hours. And again, a reinforcing Arctic shot will come into the Mid-Atlantic region, into the Northeast U.S. this weekend on the heels of a second accumulating snow event Friday night time frame. Well, let's now kind of focus in on that next accumulating snow event for the Mid-Atlantic, the Northeast U.S. We'll start off here by looking at the ensemble run of the GFS from last night at 0Z, 500 millibar height anomaly pattern for North America. First of all, you could see this jumps out at you. The purples here, much higher heights than normal, much higher pressures than normal across northern Canada and Greenland, and that is your high latitude blocking pattern, generally associated with a negative NAO, a negative AO, which we talked about yesterday. Indeed, they are still in negative territory this morning, on their way up to neutral or even slightly positive territory, but a strong block over northern Canada, a very widespread upper level low feature here over south central Canada into the northern central states of the U.S. And it tends to rotate around over the next few days, basically helping to spawn low pressure to intensify along the eastern seaboard into the day on Friday. Let's move forward here, and again you see this kind of rotation around of the deep upper level low, and then a kind of a short wave drives on through that larger scale upper level low, and it drops south and east by the time we get to Friday. This is the Friday morning forecast map, and here's that wave of energy in the upper part of the atmosphere as of Friday morning, and it kind of intensifies as it moves east. This is late Friday night, early Saturday, and there will indeed be intensifying low pressure at this time off the Mid-Atlantic coastline, maybe by this time off the southern New England coastline. Here we go all the way into Saturday, and again another accumulating snow event on the way for the end of the work week in the Mid-Atlantic, in the Northeast U.S. And then we'll move forward here. Stays very cold this weekend in the big cities, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, Boston. But you'll see here upper level ridging starts to take over early part of next week, and it certainly will lead to a warm up in much of the central and eastern states, and a very impressive upper level ridge by the time we get to the middle of next week. This is next Wednesday, January 24th, centered over the Great Lakes region. Again, certainly a relaxation in temperatures next week for much of next week across the central and eastern U.S. But you'll see here as we get towards the end of the month, that ridge tends to fade away, and indeed upper level troughing will start to try to reform right here along the eastern seaboard, the southeastern part of Canada as we get to the end of the month of January. And again, the warm-up that takes place next week, the central and eastern U.S. will be temporary indeed. Well, how does all that 500 millibar height anomaly pattern extend to the temperatures? These are the 850 millibar temperature anomalies. Again, a very wide scale Arctic air mass this morning centered over the center part of the nation, but extending into the southeastern states, into the Ohio Valley. A lot of areas well below normal as we begin the day here on Tuesday, January 16th. We'll move forward here. Again, slides into the east on the heels of this current system that is still producing some snow and freezing rain in the mid-Atlantic, the northeast U.S. That passes on by the time we get to tonight, and Arctic air kind of floods the mid-Atlantic region. You'll see the big cities, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, with a wind picking up in intensity later today and tonight, and temperatures dropping way down into the teens, even in the I-95 corridor region late tonight. Helped along by fresh snow cover. Now, let's move forward here. That Arctic air mass kind of pushes off to the north and east, and you see kind of a reinforcing shot here entering the northern plains by the time we get to late Thursday into Friday. At this time, you'll have that intensifying storm system off the mid-Atlantic coastline, Arctic air right on its backside, crossing the Ohio Valley, the Mississippi Valley, by the time we get to late Friday into Saturday, and it floods the Mid-Atlantic region for the upcoming weekend on the heels of that second accumulating snow event, which will take place basically Friday night time frame. By the time we get to Saturday, very, very cold air throughout the eastern states, likely to see some single-digit lows, maybe Sunday morning and Monday morning in the Mid-Atlantic region, in the northeast U.S., maybe Saturday morning as well, and there will be an additional snow cover on the ground in much of the Mid-Atlantic region and northeast U.S. by the time we get to that cold weekend. Well, let's wrap up with the surface forecast maps from last night's conventional run of the GFS at 0Z. And we're not done with this system yet. The precipitation kind of ended for a while in D.C. a couple hours ago, but then a little bit of a resumption of some snow and freezing rain. Same thing in southeastern Pennsylvania, kind of slackened off for a while earlier this morning, back on the table right now. And that's because this low pressure area will rapidly intensify over the next several hours. This is the forecast map for early this morning. Then we'll go to midday, and you see it kind of hanging back here. Again, we're not quite done yet with the precipitation. There will be some additional snowfall in the I-95 corridor region, some freezing rain mixed in as well, so watch out for icy spots, maybe even a glaze of ice on top of the fresh snow cover here. And again, intensification over the next few hours as that low pressure moves to the north and east. Then it finally pulls on out, affecting New England early tonight, but kind of ending over the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City corridor. And on the heels of that system, winds will pick up in intensity. Temperatures will drop quite a bit tonight, again, way down into the teens in many spots along the I-95 corridor region. Now, it stays quite cold on Wednesday, and Thursday we'll see an increase in clouds. And then this next system will start to gather strength. And again, we saw that upper level low kind of rotating around, and that is going to enhance upward motion at this particular time over the Ohio Valley, let's say by late Thursday night, and low pressure will ultimately form off the Carolina coastline by Friday. GFS, not all that impressive of a system right now. I do believe this may very well be underdoing the intensity of this system. We'll monitor this closely over the next couple of days, but I think we'll have a stronger system closer to the East Coast for Friday, and I expect accumulating snow again in the Mid-Atlantic region into the Northeast U.S., and that'll pass on by here by Saturday, and here we go with another Arctic air mass, and again, single-digit low temperatures possible in many spots, Mid-Atlantic, Northeast U.S., during the upcoming weekend into the early part of next week, and then we'll get a warm up and back to above normal temperatures in much of the central and eastern U.S. later next week, but that will be a temporary thing, and we'll get back to some cold air outbreaks at the end of January, and certainly during the month of February. That's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, this has been meteorologist Paul Dorian.